How do game mechanics transform online communities? This is the topic of our conversation today, and I'm very excited to have our group of panelists who are joining and bringing their expertise as experts in play and facilitation and just being all around wonderful humans. I hope you'll welcome them and stay here for the entire show. It's going to be a blast, and I think going to be one of our most fun ever. So thanks for joining. And I would normally say, Kalisa, roll the opening credits as my assistant, but she is out sick and I'm sending her a get well soon. And so I'm going to run the credits. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may happen to be tuning in from. This is Talk About Your Community. I'm your host, Todd Nilson with Clocktower Advisors. And on this show, if you've never been here before, and shame on you if you haven't, we talk about all manner of community topics. How do you build great online communities? How do you get people together in person? And my favorite, how do you build the combination of the two? And today's guests are people that I met quite some time ago, around the time of the pandemic, for a series of events called Wednesday Web Jams. We're going to get into talking about that a little bit, but all of them are expert facilitators, visual designers, game thinking thinkers, if that's a word, and just all around really super fun and energizing people. We've had a lot of people that have signed up for the stream today, so I'm really excited to bring them on. What I will just say by way of bookkeeping today, this is a live and interactive show. We love your questions. I do watch the chat and may promote some of those questions onto the screen as we go. So would love to hear from you in the chat space. Please give a shout out if you will, to where you're tuning in from, and say hello and sort of what's on your mind by way of questions. And if it is in your heart, if you like the show, you find it energizing and interesting, please subscribe to us here on LinkedIn through the Clocktower Advisors company page, or through our YouTube channel, Clocktower Advisors. And we put up the show about every 2 weeks. I don't have a live stream scheduled for the end of this month. Actually going to be dropping a pre-recorded episode by workplace futurist S.J. Baraconi. And he is a second-time guest on the show. Really had a fun, far-ranging conversation about that one as well. But I don't want to delay things any further. I want to bring my guests onto the screen here. Said Saddouk, Yuen Yen, and Mimp Jiamton. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
We've been planning this for a long time. I'm so excited to see all of you. I'm glad you could join. And Said, my sincere apologies for not being able to get your bio up on the show promo, but you're sort of our bonus mystery guest who comes in. I wanted to give a chance for each of you to maybe just say a few words of introduction to yourselves, and then we'll kind of get into things from there. But Mimp, I know you and I've known each other for a good while. You're a creative designer, community builder, facilitator. You're based in the UK. Yuen Yen, I know from your profile that you're a creative coach and a facilitator. You're involved with a lot of different groups. That your own consultancy, Make Me See, Future Skills Academy, Competence Factory, and the International Institute for Learning. You're just seem to be a multi-talented, very involved individual with the space of play and play energy. And Said, I know from your background, you do a lot of interactive and fun creativity work, sketching, and you co-run the playoffs community with Mimp. So I want to hear all about that too. But why don't we start out? Share a fun fact about yourself or something about your background that I got totally incorrect.
Who
I
first?
Yeah. Shall I go?
Yuen Yen, you go. You
Shall I go?
first.
Well, thank you for inviting me and Mimp and Said. And because of that, Mimp and myself had a chat last night already. And I admitted, I confessed that coming up also makes me nervous. So no matter what you see on my profile, no matter how the pictures look like, I also sometimes get excited and nervous. I'm a human. I thought it was good to point out that immediately.
I think it's important to point out that none of us are AI generated at this moment in time. We are all human.
Okay.
So that's wonderful. Said, something people might not know about you, or something you'd like to share.
Sure. So for those who don't know me, Said, thanks for the correct pronunciation, by the way, from Germany. And yeah, I don't call myself a facilitator. I call myself a facilitator because when I was thinking, okay, what are things that are fun to me that I like to do? Okay, it's a mix of entertaining and facilitating. So I just created my own little thing and I roll with it and nobody can tell me I'm doing it wrong because I made up the definition for it. So there is that, right?
Fantastic.
Playing by my own rules.
Well, we make our own games. We play by our own rules. I love it.
Exactly.
Yes. And Mimp, a word about you and your awesomeness.
I think you tried to introduce me, and I think you've done well. But the thing is, like, I wear so many hats, and I have different labels. So yes, creative designer. I also do facilitation. I also love building and managing and gathering people and communities. My background originally is in design, as in graphic design, creative design, and we didn't really have a disciplinary. We kind of just go with multidisciplinary for my course. And then I found facilitation and community building kind of like my calling throughout the pandemic. So when I found the Wednesday Web Jam, as in found, not as in founded, but when I found them, and Yuen Yen was also on the volunteer team, and I was part of it, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And I felt like I found my calling, and I don't really want to define myself to just one role. I feel like I'm all. And I think if I could, I probably have more definitions of myself. But I think 3 is already a lot. It couldn't even fit the screen. So this is already, I guess, a lot for people. One thing, I guess, that is quite new for me is that I'm starting a post-grad in linguistics. So that's a new journey that I'm embarking. Thank you. Yes. So I'm starting that end of this month. So I'm really, really excited. And I still will be working alongside Said, alongside Future Skills Academy, sometimes with Yuen Yen on facilitation, creative stuff, and fun stuff. So I'm sorry that's a little bit long. But
no, it wasn't long at all.
Currently up to.
I think that it's a sign of people's interestingness when they have more than one role that they do. Like, we all have more than one hat that we wear. We have more than one community that we belong to. And I mean, that's part of what the show is all about, is getting to know people beyond just sort of the surface labels of what's there. So no, thank you for sharing all that. Thank you for that. As I alluded to in the early part of the show, I intersected with you, with this group, through something that was called the Wednesday Web Jam. Would one of you like to talk a little bit about what that is, how it started, and then its funeral and send off?
Oh, you are revealing that already.
Hey, I pull off the Band-Aid, man.
Sure. Yes, that did hurt. Yeah, I could go and tell a little bit, and then Mim, you just add. Is that okay? Yeah. During pandemic, and I remember those first few days very well, and maybe you do too. There was among trainers, and you could say colleagues and friends, there was this question, oh, what is happening and what do we need to learn? And maybe also feeling a little bit hasted, hurried, chased. How can you learn in a fast way? Let's say, whatever fast means, right? And in the beginning, there were 3 guys. It's always 3 guys, isn't it? 3 guys. So we got Arne van Oostrom, Pedro, and I lost his last name, and also Mark Bolik. They sat together, and as 3, coming from me, as 3 boys in the sandbox, they crafted something, and then they got people together. So there was a professional desire and to work together and learn together. And there's this big together, like, okay, let's make fun. Oh, it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work again. And this fun was kind of, is it glue? Is it stardust? Is it attraction? Is it a magnet? I don't know how to say. Got out of hand. So the 3 guys, there was the crew of 6. I was in there, and then at a certain moment we recruited a social media team, and I said, after a while, let's mix it all together. So there, Mimp was there with other members of the community too. And that's how we created a foundation for a weekly get together, putting ourselves under high pressure. Really. And I guess keeping the fun in there as well, putting ourselves under pressure, but also play with that pressure.
It was definitely fun. And as I think back on that dark year or two, that we had during the pandemic, it was a time I had just lost my dad in 2020, at the beginning of all that. And at that point, part of my grieving process was to go back into my work and redouble, what I was doing around community building. I felt it was an important thing to do. That event, the Wednesday Web Jam, and the one that I was invented to, I don't know how the heck you guys found me, but it stood out to me as like one of those bright spots from that time and from that experience, just because of the energy of the group and the diversity of experiences, and the fact that I got to talk to a group of people that didn't necessarily explicitly do community building, but were very interested in design and game and play and all of the things that you guys are on the show here for today.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, thank you.
I want to shout out the person who found you, I believe, Todd, is Anupa. I don't know if she's watching, but Anupa was the one who found you, and she was the one who helped manage and coordinate with you and everyone else in the team. And I was kind of in the middle of that, and I helped with, I think, the tech hosting side of things, as well as also the doing the visuals, and it was really fun to experience your session. I don't remember what exactly it's about. I know it's about communities,
Yes.
but I remember it was so fun, and I really loved, and I think that's why we connect so well with you, Todd, because you also have this energy of wanting to learn, wanting to play, wanting to, share and connect with people. And I think that's why we still connect to this day.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you for the kind words there. Wanted to give a shout out to people in the chat. There's a lot of activity out there for people that are interested. Probably some people that all of you recognize. I see Piper Wilson, and I think I saw Todd Jones a little earlier from my crew that I know about. But there's some other folks out here: Paige Heinerman, Manuel Pimenta, Ali Shirkarami. I'm probably messing up your name. I'm sorry if I am. David Fergan. Hey, there's a buddy. Actually, David was a past guest on the show talking about gamification. He is somewhat of an expert in that area. Well, he is an expert in that area as well. So I know when I talked to him a little earlier this week, he said, Todd, when I saw that, I was like right on the sign up button for today's session. Great to see you, David. So really, really lovely. Again, I'll reiterate, please share questions, ideas, shout outs, anything that you like in the chat. And I may promote some of those onto the screen as we go here. So we all kind of met through the Wednesday Web Jam event. And today's topic, I think, is germane to that, because you were able to energize and create this Web Jam community. And I will just note, because I alluded to this earlier in a joking fashion, that we've held a funeral for that group. One of the things that I don't think comes up enough with online communities is that they can have a distinct beginning, middle, and end. And there is something playful in that, that there's a way to say goodbye to something. And I love that you engaged in that with a sense of play. Do you want to say anything a little bit about the passing of our dear departed friend, Wednesday Web Jam?
Yeah, shall I? Let me describe behind the scenes as well, because what you see, and you still can visit the clip, I think, but behind the scene, thinking about how to give it a proper, ending, is a serious process. It's a good process. It's a very divergent process. So it is real. I really want to state it was not like taking that decision easily. Not at all. It took all our hearts and passions and waiting for that the timing was right to do it. So there was a decision making, and making that decision together, and then we could move on to the creative process of how to do it then. And somehow I think the crew really took that one moment to put every creativity in there. You really should watch it. And the meaning in the funeral, the meaning was beautiful, because we planted a tree. So we all know where the tree is in Washington.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. So those of you tuning in for Games and Play probably weren't expecting us to be talking about a funeral at the outset, but I couldn't resist. And Yuen Yen inspired me with your title as breaker of rules. So I thought I would break that rule and ask about it. Thank you, for sharing that. I think it's amazing. You're right. It is a extremely difficult decision to end an event, a group gathering, a coalition, a community. But in my experience, there's always an inflection point for any kind of group. And groups can have a life, and at that inflection point, they either evolve into something else, which is I suspect what happened with Wednesday Web Jam. They sustain, and you've got online communities that have lasted years and years and years, like The Well, or they decline. And when you see things declining, that's certainly a point at which you say, oh, well, maybe we need to have a good discussion and figure out what's next, for the group. So I love that you did it in a playful and respectful way, with all of that. That's just wonderful. So I would love to get into the idea of play energy in online spaces. Like, how do you introduce, how do you inject a sense of play? How do you plan for play? Which sounds weird, because little kids know how to play naturally, but it seems like for businesses and organizations that want to adopt some of that energy, I'm curious what your points of view may be about how you broach that topic with organizations.
You want me to step in, or shall we surprise Said and ask him
Yeah.
about his energy? I'm breaking the rules now, Todd.
I love
Yes.
Said. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Perfect.
Go, Said, go.
Sure. So personally, so I don't the things that I do, I rarely do them like really with organizations, but however, with individuals who probably work in organizations. And I think the main goal is to just show people, especially since we talked about the P word, the pandemic, especially since then, I mean, we are in back-to-back Zoom meetings. Everything feels the same. If you hear the word meeting or Zoom or any form of online gathering, probably, I don't know, get a high heart rate or don't want to attend. However, I think, but online meetings can be fun. And I don't mean like stand-up comedy. They can be enjoyable. They can be like something you want to attend rather than, oh my God, not another meeting again. Right? And it all depends on how you set them up. And for myself, this is because I'm a playful guy. I like to have fun myself. And I always think about, okay, how can I make these sessions like kind of playful, kind of enjoyable, be different. And it's not always games. So it's not, okay, we have games and that's why it's playful. No, it's just the way it's moderated or facilitated, the tools you use, how you show up. If you look at Mimp, I mean, that's playful, right? I mean, with the background, for example, it's small things that can make like yet another online session into something that's, a playful experience. And we can always claim, yeah, but I don't play. You know, that's what adults say. If you say, hey, let's play a game. I'm an adult. Me. But once you're in, right, and then they forget their age and they forget like they're wearing a tie after a certain time. And I think that's just some direction we should all move towards. Let's just be a little bit more childlike and play by different rules or forget the rules and just have fun, and we can still be productive. It doesn't mean only because something is play, there is no outcome at the end. It's just the way you get to the outcome.
Is that a constructed attitude in our modern society? Because to think about play as something for children, because there's something incredibly ancient about play, that goes back to Assyrian, Babylonian culture, the ancient game of right? Like there are board games going back thousands and thousands of years. Are we creating artificial barriers for ourselves? I see Yuen Yen is nodding vigorously.
I would like to create a segue maybe for the rest of the panel. So my personal opinion is it's just the way it has been set up in the past. If it's just part of the workshop or whatever. So, no, we will play, right? And it sounds like work if you want to force people into doing something. Let's have fun now, right? And everybody is happy. That's not the way it works, I think. So that's not the way it works for me. And maybe that's just, as soon as someone mentions like play or game, maybe that's just, oh my God, not another of these fun fact things, or I don't know, whatever people call games nowadays. So, oh my God, not another of these workshop games. We've done them all. It's kind of boring. So that's just my okay.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Gideon.
Yes, I had to wave some people away. I did it gently, and I was listening to Said. And when you said we have these very ancient board games, I very much would like you to even go back more. And just a question for the audience to think about. There was a time that we hunted on animals, using an arrow, right? Using an arrow. We knew how to run. We knew how to use a tool, and we used a tool called arrow. Now we call it an arrow. But how did we find out about the bow? Is that called a bow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bow. So, what kind of gestures or actions did you have to do to find out the bow for the arrow? So that's a question I would love to, give the community to think about, and perhaps your mind is open to a direction. People played. They needed to play to develop this bow. So our mind is built for play, or is built playfully, playly, and I love the explanation by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the researcher of this book, Flow.
Mm-hmm.
And when you play a game, you feel flow, right? You feel flow. And there's one sentence in his book, and he says, our mind, the natural state of our mind is chaos. We need an object to focus. So any object that makes you play helps you focusing. And that is why sometimes I love to talk about the mind that wants to play, and give that space to play. Sometimes we need a game, just as Said also explained, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. So there are other things you can do to trigger this play mind, attitude, behavior, action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think maybe for some the question may be, I want to do a little bit of a level set here. What exactly are we getting at when we talk about the value of play? Like, I think of there's a researcher, Huizinga, who talks about liminal spaces as like play is a departure from the workaday world or from our day-to-day interactions, and is a place where maybe rules are suspended, so that you can maybe develop new ways of thinking. But that's just one definition. I'm wondering if you are all coming at it from some different perspectives as well.
Mm-hmm. I'll give a short quote by Dr. Stuart Brown. And there's one sentence in his book, and that is, when you stop playing, you start dying. Now that's all I say now.
Wow, that's
and
powerful.
it gives space to the others.
So far in this conversation about play, we have funerals and dying. This is wonderful. Yes,
and pandemics. So
and pandemics, yes.
And playing.
Death. Tune in to talk about your community and learn about plagues and death.
For me, the first thing that came to mind about play is digestible learning. I don't know if I have to unpack that, but it's such a effective way of, I guess, learning about something or sharing about something to someone, because it's not just you're sitting in a room and listening, you're also physically doing something or speaking or doing something. You're basically, there's learning by doing within it as well. So you're not just passively listening, you're actually doing something. And usually with my sessions, I show up, I let people experience it. Sometimes explaining about the session isn't useful because they don't really understand, and sometimes it overwhelms people. So sometimes, I said sometimes so many times, sorry. So at times I just show up and let them experience it. I do know that I have to plan things a lot, and sometimes I avoid to use the word play or games, because some previous organizations that I've worked for, they have this very negative mindset about the word play. So sometimes you just need to do it, but you don't tell them it's play. Just say it's an activity, it's a learning bite size, or some sort of reframe that's just another word, but it's still play. So I was able to do that before. There has been, and something that I also learned is that you can't make everyone happy, but so far, I found that most of the people really enjoyed learning through playing. And yeah, no fun at work, not on our watch. No.
I love that scene.
But I hope that answers your question.
It absolutely does. So I think that I too have had that reaction from executive leadership, especially like I'm helping them to set up an online community. As part of that strategy, they also want a gamification strategy, and gamification is one of those words that sometimes executive leaders have an allergic reaction to, and that, so it really is all in how you frame the use of it to make play okay. Sometimes you just have to repackage the word. Sometimes it's a bit of marketing to do that. But I love that we're getting into some of the naming conventions of that, because going into this conversation, I think about gamification, and I think about sort of like the hair that's attached to that word. And I know that like Amy Jo Kim, for example, has sort of reframed that as game thinking. We talked a little bit about game mechanics, whatever that is. And then like games themselves, like, are we talking about the same thing here? A rose is a rose is a rose by any other name would smell as sweet, or is there some difference here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Said, I'm looking at you. Maybe you want to step in?
Let me try my best. So, because I saw Moesh in the audience earlier, and he likes to say just because you like, I'm paraphrasing, sorry, just because you add like badges and leaderboards to something does not make it gamification, right? This is just, it still has nothing to do with gamification, but you try to force something into it. And I'm not sure what all these words you just said actually mean, what the definitions are, right? I just have my own definition. Maybe there is no word for the things that I like to do, and maybe there's also, I don't want to put them inside of a drawer, and I'm not that literate in what actually is gamification, what isn't, what is games, and what isn't. So for me, it's just what feels like something, again, what is something that's enjoyable, that can bring us forward and make this hard process maybe we are working on just not feel like heavy work. So that's more of my, whatever the word for that is, I'm happy with it, right? Or we can come up with a new word, but I don't care that much about these things. But I'm also being careful of, I don't want to call the things that I do gamifications, because I would offend people, because it's not. There's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of planning, a lot of strategy, etc. So I just don't name the thing at all, because I know it's not that what people actually do for a living when somebody's like a designer for gamified learning, for example. So respecting that and just do my own thing, but don't claim I'm like a professional in any of these. And from but whatever it is, at the end of the day, we talked about the why do we play and where does it come from? So for me personally, it's also something that's, it's just kind of a simulation without real world like consequences. If you play Monopoly, you learn something. Maybe you learn something about competition, about money, about real estate. I don't know, whatever the learning is for the individuals, but there are no real world consequences. Okay, there is family drama maybe, depending on who wins or who cheated that day. But otherwise, then you put away the game and you start a new one. And I think that's the way you learn later for the real world, how to apply things.
I mean, games don't usually have deep consequences unless you're playing a game of 3D chess with a Wookiee who will rip your arm off, if you happen to be them.
Or that one Netflix series, I don't want to mention the name, but we all know which one it is, the Korean one.
Yes.
Different story.
Yeah. Well, let me try to help how to go with all these terms. So first of all, we have a conversation about these words, isn't it? And I think that is our serious, analytical, cognitive mind wanting to have a definition. And that's okay, as long as you really feel, ooh, we are talking about it. Well, we actually should be doing it, isn't it? We can do it. So let me go back to the situation that you just framed, Todd, and that is, if you come into an office and there is leadership asking, ooh, we are going to do a gamification, ooh, explain to me. In that very second, I hope you, with your behavior, do not respond in answering, but immediately picking up something out of your bag that relates to them. It could be a, it could be a it could be a dice, it could be cards empty, just to support that conversation in the playful way without responding in the way they accept. Expect.
Yes.
Expect. If Todd is going to answer me and we're sitting, leaning backward, and then having this discussion about words, that's a waste of energy. That's a waste of time. So maybe what I try, and I have not to think about it. When I think about it, I'm in the trap, you see, when I have to think about it. So when I come in as myself, no mask. A mask is an object of play. So I say no masks, and I come with everything I have. You can choose what you like. So it's a very tiny example of how to show up. And by doing that, giving the energy and shaping the space where we can have the conversation, where I don't answer questions immediately because I don't want to fall in that trap. So maybe I would say something as, why don't you give me 3 questions per person first, and I get to choose which one to answer in this way.
I love that. That's wonderful. I'm wondering if we can maybe switch gears a little bit to address something that I've heard in the community profession a lot, which is, oh, these gamification things don't work. Points, badges, and leaderboards. Man, you know what? There's just no return on investment for this. What? And I suspect, from my own practice in this space, that there are these conventional sorts of expressions of gamification in community platforms that makes them very vanilla in their approach. And I think that that's led to a viewpoint of gamification as like, yeah, no, that doesn't really work. It's almost it is a dismissive attitude, which I think is unfair to the practice of building playful, productive activities in communities that build things. Obviously, all of us are proponents of this. If you want to introduce a sense of play energy to an online community, like how is that different from an in-person kind of experience? Like, what do you do to set the stage for a more playful experience online, and how do you frame that with leaders that are maybe underwriting a community like this? Sorry, it's a big question. I'd like to say I get paid big bucks to ask the big questions, but I get paid no bucks to ask the big questions.
You get my thoughts free, Todd. Yeah. So first of all, and it's a personal description, I don't make a difference between online and in-person sessions and encounters. So in my mind, here for you, and with all my attention, with my intention, with the thoughts, and I hope we can become friends or allies, but let's use the word friends. So I hope that builds the foundation of whatever we are going to do. In that sense, I don't feel a difference between an online community or online facilitation and in person. I wonder how Said, frames it in his head, or Mimp. But all these years, this question has, surprised me. Like, ooh, do others see a difference? What if you don't see that difference? What is if the beginning is just here from your heart, or from you as a person?
I can weigh in because I've only been doing mostly online, and I finally did my first in-person workshop last year, and thanks to Yuen Yen and many people from the Wednesday Web Jam community that helped me craft that session, because there's so many different things I had to think about online. Things are kind of constructed. You have the tools and everything. It feels like a completely different thing. But when it's offline, you need to think about things like the materials that you're bringing, the room that you're designing, how many chairs per table, how big the crowd, how small, how many facilitators, the timeline, and so on. To me, it's very different, but the goal is still the same. The goal is still, you want people to tap into that playful energy, to be open, to feel like they are comfortable, to be vulnerable in that space, live stream or not live stream, to be also open to sharing and exchanging with others. And like what Yuen Yen said, no masks. You take the mask off, and you connect with people as humans and as open as possible. That's still the goal for me. It's just the methods would be a little different online and offline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Said, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, sure. So my thoughts adding to what you said, Mim, is what I feel is the bar, if you do things online, is lower because of the expectations. What I said in the beginning, if you get an invite from me to a Zoom meeting, you probably, even in 2025, you're expecting PowerPoint slides. Someone is talking to you for 60 minutes because that's what you are used to from your corporate job or whatever. I think the bar is lower. So, and you can get this wow effect, or this effect, oh my God, this is awesome. Even if it wouldn't be, if you do the same thing in person, it wouldn't be that awesome. But just the setup is different, right? You didn't expect this, and I think that's just my point, because the bar is very, very low still in 2025. Okay, online meetings are serious, and it's PowerPoint, and it's people who don't know how to mute themselves, like a combination of these things. And if you can manage to create something online, like with the tools you have, that so many tools you can use. Sometimes it's very simple things. You don't need like a gamification platform, whatever that means, right? Or you can just create something. And Mimp and I, we are not doing it in corporate, but it's an open invitation to everyone who wants to join like one of our sessions. And people join because, you can do these things. It's a quiz, and we do, I don't know, we do creative things, and we do something with, I don't know, mostly like in Miro and what are the tools we use. And people come back because, and we hear a lot of these feedbacks, I didn't expect this, or I haven't expected this, right? So if you do this like in person, yeah, I mean, everybody has played in person at some time, right? So I think for me, that's the huge difference, which makes it like a little bit easier for me. And I don't know when I did like the last thing in person in general. I don't like to be surrounded by humans. So if you're on the other part of the world, that's fine. But in the same room, it's always a little bit different for me as an introvert. So yeah.
I love it. I think all three of you talked a little bit about getting people to drop the mask. I like that metaphor, for this. What do you do to start that process? Like, how do you get, like, I think say something you were just saying, like something to shake people out of the ordinary, right? And it doesn't need to necessarily be a game mechanic. As a consultant, when I get into live meetings or certain meetings where I feel like I can be a little playful, I use like in Zoom, I use Prezi, So I can drop animated GIFs up on the screen, and like it's rare enough that people don't use it, that it kind of shakes up the moment. And they'll say, oh, like I had someone the other day, I was on the call, and they said, wow, this is like the most. It was a prep call for a webinar, and the other panelist, I was using some animated GIFs, and he said, this is the most fun I've had on a Zoom call like in forever, and it was just because injecting a little playfulness, a little creativity to the experience.
That was exactly my point from before. Again, you do a small thing, it's a GIF. I mean, oh my God, the GIFs are on the internet for, I don't know, decades, but you still can surprise people if it comes like as a surprise. And it's funny you mentioned like the dropping the masks, because if you remember MIMP, people literally put on masks. We did like a Halloween playoffs, and then people came like in costume or with small things, but also how do you get people to drop the mask or to put a mask on? Like depends on how you look at this. Leading by example. I'm not taking this too serious. I'm not making fun of myself, but it's okay for me. You don't need to play along. Nobody is for us. But yeah, this is just the setup and the mood is, this is how we do it. We're just having fun. We can't do anything wrong. There's kind of no judgment, right? It always depends. Like most of the time, I learned the word shenanigans from MIMP. Yeah, things can break. It will be wild. If something doesn't work out, don't worry. If anybody gives the wrong answer, who cares? And after like 20 minutes, it becomes organically something that's fun, because if two people start, and then another one will join. It's also like silly and enjoys the playfulness. And then at the end, it's most part of the group are I want to say infected, but then we are back to the funerals and all the other things.
Yeah, there we go.
But you get my point.
I feel like it should have been a Halloween episode, and we should all be dressed in black.
We do have one coming up. Sorry, Yuen. We do have one coming up.
Yeah, there's a very important point about the masks. So when we know we are allowed to put on a mask, everything is fine. But when you are in a meeting and you feel somebody is wearing a mask, then you could say the play has not blossomed. The play is foul. The play is corrupt. Now, if that happens in a corporate situation, that it is not clear what is the meaning, what does it do then, and we don't explain it a little bit more, the only term I know is it gets corrupt. So point badges and leaderboards, you can see the visual, right? You can judge you can see the outside of the thing, but what is the meaning it is carrying? A leaderboard should also have something in it as excitement, but also maybe reaching out to number one and ask for help, and and exchange, or seeing the progress. So we should also point out, why do we use a progress bar, a leaderboard, or points? Not to make one high and one make somebody down small, but it's a comparison, and we enjoy that maybe today you are in the top 3 and tomorrow it's somebody else. We also should explain that a bit more. And it's not only these 3 things that are expressions of gamification. The fact that we listen to each other and we are bonding is also a tool of gamification. So there is more without me naming them all, but there is more. That's what I wanted to say.
Great insight. So Piper, I put her post up here. Do you call it out like that? The play is corrupt. Do you actually call that out in the meeting in that way?
So you look at me, you see an Asian woman, but I grew up in a Dutch culture, so I did learn about being direct being direct. Direct, not meaning to harm you, but what I say is I share what I think, and excuse me, sometimes my choice of words are a bit different, but I just share them with you, how they pop up in my mind. And of course, maybe people will ask me back, and then we've got interaction. So the play is corrupt is a sentence I do use, but not like the first sentence.
I love it. I think that's a really interesting way to put it up. I did want to just sort of share. There have been some really wonderful conversation and comments that came up, but this one stood out to me from Manuel. It's a mix of a lack of creativity and poor engineering skills. Building a points, badges, and leaderboard engine is the quick win. Yeah. Technically simple, easy to explain, easy to plan the game economy. You get a quick return initially. I love the emphasis on that word. So it was the solution for everything. And suddenly everyone was gamifying because they were using PBL. Yeah. And so they programmatized it, but they kind of murdered it in order to dissect like something easy. Now I've added murder to the mix. There we go. We have a full trifecta of gloom and doom.
I think that's a general thing. I read like a chapter of a book, like one chapter of a book, and it says, you should do gamification. And then I Googled what the word means, and someone mentioned leaderboard and badges. And then I did that, and it didn't work. Then it's not gamification didn't work. Whatever you did didn't work. This has nothing to do with like the actual like gamification thought through from A to Z. So I totally agree. And then it's because it's not like a trademarked word or like it has no copyright. Everybody can say, yeah, this is gamification. Nobody will sue you if it's not, like per definition, the whole process. So it's maybe a word that's used too loose by people who just are not that informed or not that deep. You can look through the chat and look through everybody who's watching. You can hire one of them if you want actual gamification. They are pros. They're doing it for years. I've seen what some of the people are doing. So, oh my God, you actually thought about this? No, I just sat down and let me create a game and invite people, and then that's it. It's a total difference, right? So just like everything else, we have a professional who knows psychology, who knows the whole process. It will work or it will not work less. But if you just try out something, so yeah, gamification isn't something for our company or our community. But that's actually not what you did. You just did something.
Yeah. And Said, lovely that you pointed out in that way. They might be using game mechanics, but they don't see it like that. The very first time they make a different invitation for a boring meeting, there you go. The very first time that they don't state the statement, but use it in a question, there you go. Mm-hmm. So it's really, it's the relationship between you as a human being and that object. But I hope it makes sense. We really should look at the human being who is playing while using game mechanics. And I love Manuel. Yeah, things get boring sometimes. Thank you, Manuel.
But just want to shortly add to this. We have the same in other fields. We are facilitators, for example. If you do a meeting that has sticky notes in it, right, and all workshops don't work. So, yeah, you use like one element that you use a sticky note and you had like Neuland markers and okay, this is not a workshop what you did. You just did a regular meeting with sticky notes. Don't confuse things, and then don't blame the thing that you didn't apply correctly and say it makes no sense, right? So do the full thing and think it through, or don't do it, or don't label it as this at least.
Yeah. I saw it in the comments. That is the chocolate-covered broccoli. That is the chocolate-covered broccoli.
That's most catchphrase.
If you want to make impression in the leadership room, tell them don't feed me chocolate-covered broccoli.
The one thing I really want to weigh in is also setting expectations is very important. And I think the reason why some of the sessions that Said, Yuen Yen, and I have been running, whether it's together or separate, is that we mention that this is a playful space. This is a space for failing forward. This is a space for us to learn. This is a space there'll be clumsiness, there'll be shenanigans. The setting the tone, at least, I don't know about the audience, but at least for us as facilitators, it feels like there's a little less pressure, and there's a little bit more forgiveness of us wanting to, experiment and have fun and play. So, and I do find that when I don't mention those, people do have this expectation of, like what Said said about, I expect a formal meeting. I expect online to be very serious. So once I state that this is, these are the things that you're going to expect, but it's also not giving them like a wrong expectation, like what some of you guys said today. It's also about giving kind of like maybe very vague, but still an expectation. So there is room to wiggle. Yeah. Plus
I
one.
think Mimp. I think
Yes.
like for the two of us, because I know you for a little bit longer now. We like to do like things that are open. I mean, if it's in the community, we are doing something that has playfulness and shenanigans and everything else in it. You can join, but you don't have to. If you read the description, this is not for me, then stay away or be gone after you realize what you committed to, right? But the difference is if you like do it again, like in a company or with your teams, and people have to be there, and then you throw this thing on them that doesn't make sense to them. I think it's just a difference. For me, it's a luxury position to say, I'm doing this, and you are invited, and you don't have to show up but you will be surprised how many people is looking for these things and like voluntarily join a Zoom meeting or an online meeting just for the fun of it, or just for the play, or just for the games, or just for anything that's different from what they are used to, like on a day-to-day basis. So yeah.
Said, I love to save that soul. If that person, let's describe it precisely, okay? If that person is not acting yet, I definitely would go stand next to this person and start a small interaction to see where his or her button for play is. It doesn't need to be the same behavior as what the others and the group is doing, because there are so many different ways somebody is playing. Some are not visible to us, so I would reach out, and maybe I exaggerated a little bit. I'm going to save this soul, but I would reach out. I would not I keep trying. I would try. Yeah. Because I guess coming from a learning and development or training teaching point of view, at least help the person uncover what is happening inside that person. Yeah. And again, not in a full hour, but if it's 2 minutes, maybe that's enough.
Yeah. I love that. And in the interests of playing and transgressing the rules, I'm actually, I think this is the first time I've ever gone over an hour on the stream, and I don't care because this has been such a fun conversation already. I did want to just kind of drop this question in from Ryan Francis here to see if anyone had a reflection on this. Gamification is just one tool in your community toolbox. It's an engagement strategy. Doesn't need to be a success with all of your members, which I think is what we're talking about here. But what do you think is a good success percentage to make it worth continuing or perhaps tweaking?
Shall I go first? I'm in a chatty mood.
Go for it. Go for it,
So
please.
you guys know how to stop me now, and give me a red card. Yeah. Nice question. And so I just open my thoughts. When I see the word good success percentage to make it worth, I add something to it, and that is do consider exponential growth. Meaning, if you got two persons playing, and they are, feeling that interaction, and you get them to play with two others, do you see the exponential growth? It goes really, really quick. So I hope that could be some information to digest. It's not a fixed percentage, but whoa, if you are able to make two persons play, to make two, and then these 8 make again two, it goes really, really quick. Within 10 minutes you got everybody on the table. At the table. Yeah.
I love the interactions in the chat as well. So I wanted to add, Manuel said, yeah, my experience, honest and customer interactions and engagement beats gamification every time in community building. And I think sort of like, especially in community land with a lot of the platforms, because they're sort of set in the points, badges, and leaderboards category, that straitjackets some of the interactions that are there. But I'll say in some of the communities that I have had the chance to be a strategist around or work around, play asserts itself in other ways in the space beyond sort of any gamified system that's been programmed into the platform. Things like people sharing their favorite tunes in a stream, or ritual behaviors, like a daily pledge, or sharing a favorite meme, or playing a word game, in a discussion forums. These are all free form games that require no programmatic implementation beyond a couple of members being willing to help run things smoothly, or maybe not so smoothly. I don't know.
I agree. It's about doing what the community wants. But then, yeah, once the community is comfortable with whatever you did, the play does emerge naturally. You don't even have to set the stage for play. They just, once they're comfortable, once they're vulnerable, and there's also an element of trust, the play does emerge. There's shenanigans, I use this word a lot, does emerge too. So, and it goes from there, and it makes everything much more interesting. Yeah.
Just one short fun fact. I had my phone was vibrating, and I'm easily distracted. I looked in it, and someone signed up from the audience to our Playhouse meme. So there is an audience for everything. I don't know if this proves our point, but I'm just saying. So somebody wants to play in their free time with us and experience some shenanigans. I know how to say it.
Yes.
I don't know how to spell it, but
global shenanigans. Yes.
yes, exactly.
So, Said, I know you had something about Yuen Yen, you had something about some free tickets for a community. You want to say a word about that, and I'll put the link up in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to do a 90 minutes gamification 101, and that is helping people to, let's say, gamify their most tedious task. If you don't have any game design experience, you're very much welcome to come, because I'll take it basically and very fundamental and practical, just to show you that everybody is a designer, actually, because you have play experience in yourself. Let's uncover that and use that to make your most tedious task more enjoyable and getting you a result. So I got 5 free tickets for this audience. It will be October 17th, and it's early. It's 10 o'clock in the morning Amsterdam time, because I think there are many people in Southeast Asia who needs to play more.
Nice.
We have a big group of friends in Singapore who, I don't know if they're watching because it's really late for them right now, but I hope they also join. But I just want to give a shout out to them as well.
I can't believe the time has flown by so fast. You're all so much fun to talk to. So I've truly appreciated each of you coming here with a sense of playfulness and wisdom that you shared with everybody on the talk today. I'm wondering, I wanted to leave each of you with an opportunity to either give us a closing thought, or in the interest of gameplay, what's a word that you would banish from our lexicon, if you could, like if you have an annoying pet peeve word that shows up in your day-to-day work or business that you would like to get rid of, this is your opportunity to wave a magic wand and get rid of it forever and ever. Would love to know what that is, or any other fun fact you want to drop before we close. Said, I'll start with you.
Ooh, there are a lot of words. Maybe for our topic, maybe it's like the word icebreaker, because we, I don't know, we just use it too much. We have no idea what we are doing. Like in general, maybe we can just eliminate not the icebreakers themselves, but the word, and just have more fun together.
Awesome. I will explode that word. It is gone. We've removed it from the lexicon. Yuen Yen, how about you?
Should I be looking at the lexicon? I'm not seeing anything. But maybe adding. Can I do adding?
Sure.
Yeah. I shared the quote, when you stop playing, you start dying. I hope you remember, stop dying, start playing. It's in my TED Talk, but being here, feeling it so strong in my heart again. Yeah, I really wish that to your community.
That's beautiful. That's really good. A round of applause there. Thank you. And Mimp, how about you?
What was the question again? There's like lexicon, there's something, there's
the
so many things.
Banish. What is the word that you would wave your magic wand and banish from the kingdom forever?
Oh my God. I don't really have a word that I want to vanish, but I do want people. I feel like one of my mission is to change people's minds about play and having fun, and especially the expectation of an online meeting. The reason why 3 of us connect is because a lot of people think online meetings are boring. And I'm like, come to my meetings, come to my sessions. This is not a boring meeting. This is not a boring webinar. We intend this to be fun. We intend this to be just show up as you want to be. We intend this to be a playful thing. So I guess I just want to change people's minds about online meetings being boring. It can be fun. Come to my sessions. Come to Yuen Yen Tsai sessions. We have all the tools. We have all the playbooks. We kind of know what we're doing. I'm not sure, but just show up. Just show up and see. Let me prove you wrong.
Fantastic. This could go another 3 or 4 hours because you were all so wonderful and fun to talk to. I would definitely love to schedule a part 2 to this conversation, maybe in a couple of months or in the new year. We'll get something on the books. But
yes, please.
Again, thank you for bringing such good energy to the show. I couldn't have said it better than Ali here. Playful thoughts and tickling our minds. Yes, thank you for the brain tickle. This has been amazing.
So did I win?
Yes.
Hey, we're all winners here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Smash!
If we play, there must be a winner. I think that's the rule of every game, and there have to be 3 losers. That's
all of us.
Just kidding.
Like a game of Dungeons and Dragons, survival is winning. So there you go. Thank you all again. I really appreciate it. And thank you for those of you who have stuck with us through the show. This has been an incredible time. Again, apologies for going over a little bit, but not apologies because we had so much fun along the way. It's all about the journey. And I hope that all of you who have tuned in for this, I'll try to respond to each and every question you may have. If you haven't, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, Clocktower Advisors, or to the company page for Clocktower Advisors on LinkedIn, where you will get notifications of all of our upcoming shows. I always try to bring fun, interesting, insightful guests on, and we have conversations just like this all of the time, although maybe not with Lego people, which is really kind of cool. In the meantime, though, please, are we showing our toys? You have something? Let's see if I can,
you don't want to start a battle on who has the most toys on their desk because you will lose.
Awesome. Love you guys so much. Appreciate it. And I would say for all of you who've tuned in, please take some time away from your computers this weekend. Get outside, get with your family, play a game, and enjoy. You're not good to anyone else unless you're good to yourself first. And we will be back in 2 weeks with an episode with S.J. Barracone talking about digital workplaces and his futurist point of view around this. And in the meantime, please keep building great communities. We'll see you out there.